Good evening and welcome to the 2021 Greater Bakersfield Chambers State of the City. I'm Derek Jeffrey, Vice President and General Manager for KGT-TV and the first ever two-term chairman. Why? Am I the first of 100 previous chairmen to serve the first ever second term? I would like to think it's because of the incredible job I did in guiding the chamber through the tumultuous year of 2020. But instead, I'm told I'm the only person who returned from remote work, and Nick blackmailed me. We meet again as last year, virtually, and although I'm envious of you at your home, in your PJs, on your couch, I hope you're as excited as I am to get back to our in-person events. As the first ever second-term chairman, I am making it official that this is our last virtual event. Since our last State of the City, a lot has changed. Last year was an immensely trying and stressful year. I hope to never hear the word unprecedented again. But last year is over. I'm done with it. Tonight we talk about the good now and the better moving forward. Historically, in times of crisis, people have found a way to come together. As a general manager of a news station, I get a front row seat to our community's happenings, the highs and the lows. As a native of Bakersfield, I know this community's spirit, but through our work at KGT, I get to see my community's heart. I've never been more proud of my community than I've been over the past 12 months. We've rallied together to support our small businesses and our nonprofits. Our community still faces challenges, but our community is exhilarating. The work done by the Greater Chamber this past year is nothing short of phenomenal. They, along with local businesses, are initiating the dialogue and action, being a catalyst for change. But I'm sure you've heard, words will hold some water, but actions carry buckets full. That is what tonight is about. That is what this year is about. There's a saying here at KGT that goes, what will you do today to make your community better? Everybody has a plan, everybody has a goal, but who's going to act on them? Tonight you'll hear from some of those people in action, our city manager, Christian Clegg, and our mayor, Karen Go. But first, two individuals I'm certain are catalysts for positive change. Please welcome Ken Keller and Bruce Peters.
Hello everyone, I'm Ken Keller, President of Dignity Health's Memorial Hospital.
And I'm Bruce Peters, President of Bakersfield's Mercy Hospitals. It is a privilege to be the presenting sponsor of this special program highlighting the state of our city. Life as we know it is slowly getting back to normal. The questions that remain about the future of our businesses, local education, and livelihood are slowly being answered through the dedication and commitment of this amazing community.
It has been our privilege as caregivers to meet the challenge of the pandemic for our communities. With you, we've addressed the social and economic disparities of healthcare and continue to do the critical work needed to care for the well-being of every person, regardless of their race, age, sex, or social status.
The commitment and dedication of our caregivers in facing the challenge of this pandemic is what we are most proud of, and as we look ahead to the next year and the opening of our businesses, there will be new opportunities in how we do business.
Dignity Health is committed to partnering with local and state governments to ensure your success. With your generous support, our 3 Dignity Health hospitals and network of services continue to grow. In just a few weeks, the new medical office building on 34th Street across from Memorial Hospital will be complete. It's an investment in this community that opens the door to expand our partnership with Clinica Sierra Vista to care for more of our most vulnerable families and expand new services.
And this year, Mercy received the largest gift ever given to our hospitals, a more than $25 million donation to fund the expansion of Mercy Southwest. Plans for a new 106-bed tower have been finalized for this state-of-the-art facility that will provide comprehensive care for the fastest growing area in our county.
As a member of the largest not-for-profit health system in the nation, we stand to serve 1 in every 4 patients across this amazing country. And it's our mission to continue to care for the most vulnerable within our communities.
But our most important mission is to secure the well-being of this community. We are poised to make a difference, and our commitment to you as a member of the Common Spirit Health family is that we will.
We will carry out our mission through the healing power of humanity. At a time when love, patience, and kindness is more important than ever, we know that human kindness opens doors, and ours will always be open to you. Thank you, and enjoy the program.
Next, an individual who needs no introduction. And it's really cool when she calls my phone and it shows the mayor. I always make sure everyone in the room knows who's calling me. Oh, sorry, I got to take this. It's the mayor. Yeah, the mayor's calling me. It's like the bat signal appears on my phone. There's only 3 people I will pick up their call no matter what I'm doing. My mama, my wife, and the mayor. She's an eternal optimist, our city's greatest advocate, Mayor Karen Go.
Hello, Bakersfield, and thank you for joining us for the State of the City 2021. In a year with great challenges, we're ready to say we're coming back better than before. I have the privilege of celebrating Bakersfield and how we're rising to the challenge of being Bakersfield, the sound of something better. Our city manager will highlight specific accomplishments of the city and upcoming plans. Let's start with the challenges. Homelessness continues to loom as the paramount issue facing cities throughout California. The annual Homeless Assessment Report found that California accounted for more than half of all unsheltered people in the country. Among California's 13 largest cities, Bakersfield's unsheltered count on a per capita basis is one of the lowest. But we know that Bakersfield, like other big cities, has felt the impact of homelessness like never before. Homelessness has increased during a year compounded by COVID, economic and housing inventory impacts, and state-mandated early prisoner release. Yes, we are facing a humanitarian and quality of life homeless crisis. It can feel overwhelming when encampments become increasingly visible, and when we encounter homeless persons pushing overflowing carts in our neighborhoods. At the same time, we also feel the inhumanity of seeing a homeless person living in squalor and eating out of a trash receptacle in 105-degree heat. The homeless situation in our city is unacceptable. While the conditions seem daunting and much work has yet to be done, Bakersfield is rising to the challenge. Our city is addressing both the complex humanitarian crisis and the quality of life crisis. We're increasing outreach, adding shelter beds and housing, and increasing essential supportive services. At the same time, the City of Bakersfield is adding resources to increase public safety and to accelerate the cleanup of encampments and debris. Bakersfield has made notable progress in addressing specific subpopulations, including chronically homeless persons. Those are persons with a disability who have experienced homelessness for at least a year or repeatedly over the last 3 years. A sustained and strategic effort for the past 5 years has resulted in fewer than 1% of homeless adults being chronically homeless. Our community also has drastically reduced veteran homelessness. Using lessons learned and proven strategies from success with these 2 groups, we're now applying them to other subpopulations, including homeless youth, a growing concern in California. With so much effort focused on homelessness, why do we still see so many homeless persons? Housing affordability, failures of our criminal justice system, and gaps in preventing households from becoming homeless result in more people falling into homelessness than were able to get housed. Far too many homeless continue to live on our streets with debilitating mental health and substance use issues. I and others have been resolute in advocating for much needed reform in this area. But I have a new optimism that our community is beginning to rise to this challenge. As we did with chronic homelessness, we're identifying gaps in our system, and we're seeking new ways to fill those gaps. Some with severe mental illness cannot successfully live in our existing congregate shelters, so we're now exploring alternative housing solutions. I'm grateful for the many who continue to work relentlessly to address homelessness. I believe the year ahead will begin a transformative period as we bring new solutions to the challenges of homelessness. The progress that we've made in homelessness has required partnership and advocacy. As mayor, I had the privilege of advocating for our community at the state and national levels. In some settings, we don't all agree, but by my being at the table, I have the opportunity to give voice to the unique perspective of our city and to bring resources and attention to Bakersfield. I've been honored to stand with my fellow big city mayors to advocate for state and federal funding to assist with the double crises of the pandemic and homelessness. Our bipartisan coalition met frequently with the governor and the legislators throughout the pandemic and during the budget process to ensure that our city's priorities would be included. As your mayor, I want to make sure that Bakersfield receives our fair share of planned state and federal spending. Last year, we received allocations from the state of $4.8 million for homelessness and an additional $33.5 million to address COVID. The Big City Mayors Coalition recently achieved the first ever multi-year commitment from the state since we started our annual budget advocacy work. $1 billion annually for homelessness will be provided to local governments for the next 2 years. These flexible dollars will allow Bakersfield to maximize our investments and implement long-term solutions to the homeless crisis. The Big City Mayors Coalition also has been an advocate for our students throughout the pandemic. We call for the state to safely reopen schools and battle the increasing equity disparities generated by prolonged distance learning. This past year, I was asked to join mayors and CEOs for U.S. housing investment. This bipartisan group brings business leaders and local and federal governments together to collaborate in new ways to ensure that resources for housing and homeless assistance are sustained. As federal fiscal decisions are being made, mayors and CEOs are continuing to advocate for investments in cost-effective prevention strategies to stop homelessness before it happens. Similarly, our board of the League of California Cities has been instrumental in advocating for increased state funding and resources to prevent homelessness and assist persons already experiencing homelessness. We've also protected local control and local decision-making in our engagement with legislation. The collaborative advocacy with our chambers of commerce during the pandemic has been invaluable. Closures during COVID took a grave toll on our businesses. It's been a privilege to partner with our chambers to give voice to local businesses in Sacramento. During my first State of the City, I called for action to write a new narrative for our city. Tejon Ranch took the lead in bringing together the private sector, government, the chamber, and Kern EDC, from which emerged our regional branding initiative. The next step was to take action together and create a vision for the future and an investment plan. We reached out to the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. Our conversations in Sacramento with the Go Biz team and our local legislators led to the governor's support of a regional funding investment for Bakersfield and Kern County. Our initial discussions at the state capitol have evolved into an ambitious effort to diversify our economy and ensure that everyone can participate in our region's prosperity. That effort, A Better Bakersfield and Boundless Kern, or B3K Prosperity, has engaged a cross-section of our business and governmental leaders, educators, and neighbors to work towards visioning a thriving future for Bakersfield and Kern County. That thriving future includes quality job creation that is accessible to all. We have so much to be proud of. Our region boasts incredible assets in our energy and agriculture industries, but with regulatory and market pressures challenging those sectors, it's clear that we have to think differently. That's why we have 5 work groups, locally led and externally advised by the Brookings Institution, working on strategies to improve entrepreneurship, innovation, and expand key areas of our economy. As we develop strategies, we're committed to equitable economic development policies that help individuals from underserved communities. We're not engaging in this initiative to satisfy Sacramento. B3K is about our community deciding its own fate. And I've had faith since the beginning that we have a better and brighter economy ahead of us, that working together, we can ensure that every family in our region has the opportunity to pursue the American dream. This indeed has been a challenging year, a year of loss, a year of pain. Our hearts go out to the hundreds of families who mourn the loss of a loved one to COVID. Thousands experience anxiety as they or family and friends struggled with the virus. Our healthcare workers and first responders endured exhaustion. Hardworking residents suffered the despair of being unable to provide for their family or pay their bills. Parents and educators wrestled with the frustration of homebound children and their educational loss. Business owners saw their life savings and dreams evaporate as they hung up their closed for business signs. But Bakersfield remained resilient. Bakersfield cared. Bakersfield persevered, and Bakersfield innovated. CityServed, named a community of opportunity and faith by the USDA, brought 160,000 boxes of farmers to family food into our community, and countless volunteers distributed them in our lowest income and food insecure neighborhoods. Grimway Farms established pop-up grocery stores on hospital campuses for our healthcare workers who were tirelessly working. With the support of large healthcare providers, Kern Community Foundation launched Kern Connected Community Network, connecting people most in need to social services through a robust technology platform with partners representing more than 120 programs. In a year that transformed education, CSUB stood apart from the majority of colleges and universities in the nation by increasing enrollment numbers. CSUB also added a Bachelor of Science degree in public health, a major milestone in preparing public health professionals for our community. Bakersfield College established its early college program in 36 high schools, and more than 100 students graduated with an AA the same year they received a high school diploma. Adventist Health was the first in California to start hospital at home for the COVID patients. Adventist Health is now using hospital at home for breast cancer patients post-surgery to avoid the hospital and so they can recover in the comfort of their own home. COVID exposed the vast disparity in access to health care, array of health inequities, and disparity in social justice. Dignity Health, Mercy, and Memorial Hospitals, always strong supporters of the needs of the vulnerable, has redoubled their efforts to aggressively engage solutions to these issues. During the past year, sadly, many salons had to close their doors. Panache, a Mark Lamas salon, chose to rise to the challenge and grow its business. With COVID distancing restrictions in place, Panache couldn't use all of its stylist stations. The salon was losing business. Stylists were losing their income. Mark was determined to help his team succeed. He was determined that the salon would come back better than before. Mark got to work and designed a beautiful, larger space in a new location where stations could be separated. He took a risk in the middle of a pandemic and refused to let COVID stop him. Business at the new Panache location is booming, up by 33%, with a major influx of clients. Bakersfield indeed is resilient. These are only a few examples of the exceptional heart, mind, and spirit of our community. Thank you, Bakersfield. Thank you for caring. Thank you for persevering. And thank you for innovating. While the pandemic tried to post closed signs throughout our city, the hearts of the people of Bakersfield refused to be closed. The resourceful and innovative minds of Bakersfield would not be closed. And the resilient spirit of Bakersfield reversed the closed sign to open and shouted from the rooftop, "We're coming back better than before." God bless you, Bakersfield. We're rising to the challenge. We are coming back better than before.
You're there for everyone else. You never think of yourself, even when your own heart aches. So if your tears make a river of you, I'll hold back the tide. I do that for you. And if your world's breaking in two, I'll carry the side. I'll do that for you.
In his second year as city manager, his first year was 2020. An individual that we introduced to our city during a pandemic. What a warm welcoming. I will never complain about generally managing a TV station when this guy manages a city. It is my pleasure to introduce Bakersfield City Manager, Christian Clegg.
Hello, Bakersfield. I'm Christian Clegg, your city manager. I came to the city last year just before the pandemic, and while this is my second state of the city, I wish I could have been out in the community more over the past 12 months. It's been a long year for all of us, but I want you to know that for me, during this past year, Bakersfield really has been the sound of something better. We have faced incredible challenges, but I couldn't have faced them with a better team or a better community. Bakersfield is resilient. We have weathered the pandemic better than most communities, and we are poised to hit the ground running in this next year. While many cities closed their doors during the pandemic, Bakersfield remained open and pushed to meet the pressing needs of our community. In the past year, we kept our permit center open. We processed more building permits than any year in the past 5 years. We did all we could to keep our businesses open with creative ideas like outdoor dining permits, and funded $14.5 million in economic recovery for local businesses and nonprofits. We completed 2 police academies, totaling 40 new officers, and hired 10 officers from other agencies. We opened a new homeless shelter. We doubled the number of shelter beds in our community in 1 year alone. We launched the Clean City Initiative, providing large item collection events and brand new Clean City teams who patrol the city cleaning up litter and other trash. And we've completed numerous other projects related to quality of life, like park improvements and infrastructure like road repairs. The following slides highlight our efforts over this past year. Public safety remains a high priority for the City Council. In addition to the progress we've made in hiring officers, we've staffed up special support units, initiated a pilot for mental health support, also begun a gun violence intervention program, and we implemented 2 fire rescue squads that have improved response times in our busiest stations. Homelessness is becoming the biggest priority of the city. As noted earlier, we opened the Brundage Lane Navigation Center this year, and we've doubled the number of shelter beds in Kern County. We have spent significant dollars on affordable housing projects, adding many new units, and we've increased the size of our rapid response teams. We continue to address the impacts of homelessness to the extent possible, and we're continuing to get state and federal funding to put towards housing and rental and utility assistance. We're very proud this year to keep our city offices open and make our parks a gem again in this community during the pandemic. We also were able to replace 2 playgrounds this past year. Our rapid response teams are very busy cleaning up sites across the city, and our Clean City Initiative has hired 6 clean teams to pick up litter and debris. They've collected nearly 100,000 pounds of trash and bulky items. Also this past year, we made sure that we had virtual concerts, tours, and activities, and a new visitor guide to help people stay busy and have fun during the pandemic. One of the most important things we did in this past year is that we made necessary adjustments to respond to the pandemic. We have been fortunate in that we've been able to receive additional revenues in recent years, and we've built up our rainy day reserve fund even faster than we anticipated. We've also initiated a formal review of our fiscal policies and procedures, and we were able to disperse the $33 million in federal CARES Act monies that came to the city, largely going towards small business and nonprofits assistance, as well as rental assistance for those in need. This last year, we were also able to create and staff an economic development department. This will be critical for our initiatives moving forward, and we're nearing completion of an economic development strategic plan. An element of that plan is to adopt a technology innovation lab that will build entrepreneurship in the tech industry for Bakersfield. We also expanded job programs like the Homeless Center Job Program, and we had 5 economic opportunity area business grants that have been approved. There were also nearly $2 million in federal grants that we're able to deploy to our local businesses this past year. We've also been able to make significant progress in our infrastructure improvements this past year. The Thomas Roads Improvement Program is nearing completion. This past year we completed the 24th Street project, the Stockdale Highway and Enos Lane roundabout, and made good progress on other elements that will be complete in the next couple of years. This past year we resurfaced and reconstructed 110 lane miles of city streets, repaved 11 miles of alleyways, and have had a large project retrofitting decorative lights throughout the city to have safer, brighter LED lights. We've also done that in our parks. We've also continued our bike and pedestrian improvements throughout the city, particularly in high volume areas like the Kern River Parkway, Kentucky Street, and Brundage Lane. Bakersfield is fortunate that our economy has also rebounded stronger than many areas. City revenues have come back faster than expected. We did tighten our belts during the pandemic, and there has been an influx of state and federal stimulus funding. What all this means together is that we have significant resources to get at the priorities of the city. The budget for the coming year will fund the remaining police officer positions for reaching that goal of hiring 100 additional officers. We've expanded our teams responding to homelessness, and will work with the county and other partners to reach those most challenging of individuals experiencing homelessness. We allocated $6 million to complete our list of deferred maintenance in city parks and also put a dedicated team together to clean up our Kern River Parkway Trail. We have really big plans for new business growth and revitalization through our new Economic Development Strategic Plan. The following slides highlight additional initiatives we plan for in the coming year. In this coming year, public safety will continue to be a priority. We have budgeted 28 new police officer positions, and that represents the full budget allocation of the 100 new officers promised through the Public Safety and Vital Services tax. We're also expanding our private security services for hotspot areas. We also are having a security camera pilot program to help us have more eyes and ears throughout the city. We've added motor units to our traffic division to help them be more nimble and responsive, and we've added additional civilian positions that help to address those lower priority calls and keep our officers on patrol. As noted before, homelessness is increasingly becoming our highest priority in the city. We will be spending $6 million for affordable housing projects in the city in the coming year. We're also pursuing another $5 million from the state for an affordable housing trust fund. We have $11 million in our own budget for homelessness programs addressing the impacts of homelessness, and we've expanded our services to additional hotspot areas for that purpose. We also will see $20 million in federal stimulus funds to help prevent homelessness through housing assistance. And finally, we've funded a 4th rapid response team to address homelessness along the Kern River Parkway Trail. We're fortunate that through our Public Safety Vital Services tax dollars, we're able to get at deferred maintenance in our neighborhood parks. We have a $6 million investment that will make upgrades in numerous parks throughout the city. We'll also be conducting a facility needs assessment for our Martin Luther King and Silver Creek community centers. We're going to continue our Clean City initiative. We've actually added 2 Clean City teams to the existing 6 teams. We're spending nearly $2 million on a Kern River Parkway cleanup team. We'll continue to invest in street lighting throughout the city. And we are initiating a community revitalization program that will spend $3 million in our neighborhoods that have the greatest need. And finally, we've expanded our code enforcement to get at quality of life issues throughout the city. Again, we're fortunate that our general revenues have rebounded quickly, and we feel like we're back on a normal trajectory. We know that we need to purposefully save for known future costs. We have needs to improve our business processes and our technologies at the city. It's important to recruit and retain the best talent, and we have big projects like a public safety regional radio modernization and public safety facility expansions in the future. We're also fortunate to have $94 million through the American Rescue Plan Act that will be used for game-changing projects around affordable housing, business development, and infrastructure projects. As noted before, we have big plans around economic development in this coming year. The City Council wants to make Bakersfield the most business-friendly city in all of California. We'll be working to implement our Economic Development Strategic Plan. We've set aside $2 million to begin those initiatives. Another $1 million will be spent on business assistance and incentive programs, and we have $3.6 million set aside for redeveloping underutilized properties downtown. We'll also be working on our general plan update, which will be impacting the entire city, and we're creating a business success team with staff dedicated to business development and business assistance. The city will be pursuing many initiatives related to economic development in the coming year to diversify our economy and protect our core industries. We will also continue to invest significantly in infrastructure. There's nearly $60 million in local road projects in this coming year alone. Some big projects like the Hageman Flyover will become shovel-ready in this coming year, and we're going to move forward with the Rosedale Highway Widening Project. Many sidewalk improvements and bicycle and pedestrian projects will move forward as well. We have $16 million in next year alone on bicycle and pedestrian projects. As I mentioned before, it has been a long year for everyone. Bakersfield has been waiting a long time to see certain changes happen, but I can assure you that good things are coming to Bakersfield. We have the will, we have the heart, and now we have the resources. The pandemic may have interrupted some of our momentum, but we are in a better position than most cities to move quickly into recovery. The real impacts of Measure N, the Public Safety and Vital Services tax, are yet to be felt, and that is saying a lot given what we've already been able to accomplish. The impacts of the stimulus investments and initiatives of the city will be game-changing. This coming year is going to be a year of opportunity and growth. We have big challenges ahead of us, but we can meet them. We survived the pandemic, and now we will thrive in a better Bakersfield, a community of opportunity.
Good evening. I'm Nick Ortiz, President and CEO of the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. Thank you for joining us to learn from our city leaders how our community is rebounding as the pandemic ebbs. This last year has been a challenge, but together our community is doing what it takes to support businesses, invest in projects, and seek opportunities to build something better. So grateful for the leadership of Mayor Go, her colleagues on the City Council, and our City Manager, Christian Clegg. I'm also incredibly lucky to have a dynamic community leader like Derek Jeffrey as our Chamber Board Chair. Producing an event like this takes many hands. I want to thank my team at the Chamber for their hard work, the support staff in the City Manager's and Mayor's office, and the talented team here at KGET TV 17. We also are so appreciative of our sponsors, those companies that continually invest in the Chamber and our community. Our gold sponsors, Era Energy LLC and Chevron. Our silver sponsors, Beacon Studios, California Water Service, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, Southern California Gas Company. Our bronze sponsors, Barrett Business Services, Inc., Bolt House Properties, LLC, California Resources Corporation, Kern Health Systems, and Stockdale Podiatry Group. All of our supporting sponsors, and a very special thank you to our presenting sponsors, Dignity Health, Mercy, and Memorial Hospitals. Have a great evening, be safe, and we look forward to seeing you in person soon.